It's the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We will be looking at the pages of our dailies, and we do have a guest joining the conversation, Tunde Kolawole. It's good to have you join us, Tunde Kolawole.
Good morning, Mercy. How was the night?
Very well, thank you for asking.
Thank you.
All right, I'd start off with the Leadership newspaper, and the attention would be on the top stories or top caption on the Leadership newspaper. The bold header reads, Nigeria's problem have defied cosmetic solutions. IBB is quoted on that, says leadership must be occupied by competent, visionary leaders or individuals. Nigeria must be rescued from wrong drivers. You also have new movement emerges, backs Southern presidency. Communal clash, Niger court sentences 11 to death by hanging. And President Muhammadu Buhari confers National Merit Awards on 3 scholars. Court dismisses suit against Zamfara governor's defection to the APC. Quite interesting as we look ahead of 2023. CBN's Naira support dips foreign reserve despite the rising oil price. And committee suspends creation of agencies. You can't turn us to slaves, as it tells federal government as they plan to embark on another strike. That's it on the Leadership this morning.
Let's move straight to stories coming on the front page of the Independent, the Daily Independent it is. The major headline there, upcoming mega party revs up, process to square up to PDP APC. Upcoming mega party revs up process to square up to PDP APC. It's be quite interesting to see how that plays out. It has a rider, sets up transition harmonization council. APC hails court ruling against Zamfara governor's defection. At the top of that front page, while there is fuel scarcity, NMDPRA, NNPC increases supply to bridge gap. Senate okays 6 new law schools across geopolitical zones. And the last few headlines from that paper. Don't remove Labour from exclusive list. NLC warns federal government. Reps summon 5 ministers, permanent secretaries over financial infractions. Gunman kills 8 at Imo Council headquarters. Tension as gunmen kill Anambra official, and CJN hits back at AGF over utterances against judiciary. Interesting.
All right, away from the Daily Independent, let's look at the Punch newspaper this morning. Adulterated petrol, federal government may return fuel to suppliers. 100 million litres affected, says marketers. And that you find on the Punch newspaper this morning. Fuel shortage queues may last till weekend, says marketers. NNPC increases supply to bridge supply gap and records polluted fuel. This is what you find on the Punch newspaper this morning. Nigeria made 1,350 calls about data breaches in 2021. That's according to a report. You also find Reps daily fuel consumption panel begins probe behind closed doors. And just before we move away from the Punch newspaper this morning, APC governors awaits Buhari Al-Makura Musa led in chairmanship race. And you also have bandits raid casino communities for hours, kill 13, abducted village head others. And Senate approves 7 new law schools and campuses, and you have the figures rising to 14. Another one says, subscriber grown as Galaxy backbone battles portal breakdown. Now, this is some of the headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning.
And straight to the final paper, The Nation, on Wednesday with the lead headline, pressure on Buhari to reject reworked electoral bill. Pressure on Buhari to reject reworked electoral bill with a rider, eyebrow on provision that ministers should resign to contest for office, and also INEC to get list of candidates August 18. At the top of that front page, charges dropped as hotelier, others against hotelier others over OAU students' death. That's just been the story that's gripped the nation. Senate OK 6 additional law school campuses. Lagos Blue Line is 85% ready, says Lamata MD. JAM shifts UTME registration by 1 week. Another story from the Nation newspaper. South's governors resolute on power shift, says Akeredolu. NNPC subsidiary links scarcity to withdrawal of toxic petrol. Shortage will continue, says marketers. And finally, gunmen kill 10 in Imo. Firms settle on $3.3 billion Igjina project. That's a big one coming there. Those are stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Let's turn our attention now to analysis with our guest. Barrister Kolawole is still with us this morning. Mr. Kolawole, thanks again for your time. What are your thoughts on the headline on the front page of the Nation newspaper saying that there's pressure on President Buhari to reject the reworked electoral bill?
It's not impossible. Even with all the amendments that have been made, I'm not too sure most Nigerians are satisfied with regard to what the National Assembly is pushing to Mr. President to find. If this democracy grows, we must make sure that there are adequate clauses in the Electoral Act that will guarantee a clear and fair election. The truth of the matter is, our allies will be out of business. They are not ready, they are not prepared, and they are not willing to consider an inch to ensure that we have a clear and fair election. That is why you find out electronic transmission of laws from the polling center, having adequate servers to automatically complete or tally the returns from these different places, are not giving adequate ground. So even though the Electoral Act has been watered down, there are still some allies who are still not satisfied with some of the clauses that are in there, because it is going to be an impediment to them in their desire for manipulation and ensure that they win at all costs.
All right. Yeah, as a follow-up, the contentious issues now no longer direct primaries as it was the first time, but we're looking at the clause on ministers or let's say government appointees, to resign their appointments if they intend to contest for that election. Is this something that maybe the National Assembly should have dropped? Or is this something you feel is necessary to ensure that we have a smooth election and democracy is enhanced in Nigeria?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I am not too sure that we have seen what is happening now with regards to the appointment of the electoral umpire, the electoral commissioner, and we start carrying members of a political party won't be forwarded to the Senate or the National Assembly to be made INEC electoral committee. It has no precedent. You will remember one of the spokespersons for the president once had a name forwarded to the National Assembly to be made an INEC electoral committee. Also in the papers, we have seen a professor, even though I haven't personally certain or qualified or have a concrete proof that a professor who is a carry member of APC is now an INEC committee. So, and the Constitution and the Electoral Act are very clear. At any carry party, any civil servant, or anybody who has a sympathy whatsoever for any of the political parties in the country, it's not suitable to be appointed as an electoral commission. For here, under the APC, and under President Muhammadu Buhari, we have seen a regime of impunity in which names of outside members of political parties, sympathizers of political parties, those portions of even the perfected will have their names forwarded to the National Assembly for appointment of the INEC Electoral Commission. This portends a lot of data for a free and fair election from 2023. And I think all Nigerians to rise up to the occasion and insist that we should abide by whatever the concern the Electoral Act says.
All right, Tunde Kolawole, let's also look at the leadership newspaper this morning. Former military head of state, IBB, has mentioned that Nigeria's problems have defied cosmetic solutions. We're talking about Ibrahim Babangida. Tunde Kolawole.
Please, can you repeat that, please?
So on the leadership newspaper, we have the former military president, Ibrahim Babangida, saying that Nigeria's problems have defied cosmetic solutions. And you also have him saying leadership must be occupied by competent and visionary individuals.
Yeah, it's interesting that ICC has been talking a lot with regard to good governance. This is a man who has had 8 years to rule this country and who has had all the opportunity to give us good government. But rather than give us good government, what did he do? He tried to cancel or he ignored the best election that was ever conducted in the history of this country. So such a man would have to recommend to us what he considered would be opportunity to have good governance, to have free and fair elections, baffles me as a person. I don't think he meant well as a person. If he did, he would have done that when he had a year to rule the country. I also do not agree with it that Nigeria's problem has devised solution. Rather, we have not been given the right solution to most of the challenges that we have as a people. Because people consider some of these things not from an objective perspective, from very, very selfish end, which is not there. These people have been resorting in their recommendations, in all the programs, in all the laws that have been making in the history of the country. They wouldn't have been some of the things that they are saying. So, it is not the fault of the people or the law that we have, but rather it is the fault of the people who have been responsible for the management of the country.
So, but as a follow-up, I mean, if you talk about the issue of cosmetics here, he probably will be talking about the fact that we ought not to look at, I mean, it goes beyond just a surface thing. We need to address the issues from the root.
Can you do me a favor?
What would that be, sir?
Please, can you do me a favor?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you do me a favor?
What would that be, sir?
Hello, I'm not hearing you well.
Okay, so we definitely, we have a team of, technical engineers working on it, and I'm sure that we can restore and have proper audio where we have a smooth, communications. We apologize for all of that, but Tunde Kolawole, as soon as we're able to connect with you, definitely get back. With the issue of having, the former military head of state saying the president saying that the issue of Nigeria goes beyond cosmetics. I'm thinking that we're talking about surface issues at this point. I mean, there are a lot of issues that we need to look at the root causes. So it just goes beyond saying, oh, this is what it is, but we need to get to the root of it and address it. And that's the only way, because there are structural issues. Most of the issues that we're faced with as a country, you want to agree with me that they are structural issues. And if you don't deal with them from where they're coming from, then it would just be you treating the, just treating the symptoms. Like the medical practitioners would be saying that we're treating some of the symptoms. For instance, the issue of security, if you look at it, you want to find out that it's actually encompassing across the entire country. So in different parts of the country, you have different, the issues are not they're not the same. So you have issues coming out of the fact that some persons are saying, hey, we're dissatisfied with how resources are being allocated and how we're being treated. And so all of the security issues emanating from that. You also have, the fact that you have a group of persons who are terrorizing or killing people randomly. And so the issues are quite different. And if we have to address it, it wouldn't just be saying, hey, we have more security personnel. All right, so Tunde Kolawole, it's good to have you join us. Let's have you share your thoughts.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Kola, are you there, please?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think, Mercy, you were asking him a question. So, sir, can you, if you heard her, can you just give us a response to that?
Mercy.
Yes, Tunde Kolawole. So the conversation, you say you do not agree with the former military president of Nigeria, and you say you don't agree with him when he talks about cosmetic solutions to Nigeria's problem.
No, I don't.
Now, but you also would want to agree with me that we can't talk about solving Nigeria's problems on the surface. I mean, we need to go to the root of some of the issues. And some of the issues that we're faced with as a country comes out of, I mean, some people are not satisfied with how resources are being allocated. And that's also a problem. And so if we have to address the issue, then we need to go to the root of it.
I agree. You see, most of the problems we have in the country are self-inflicted. Why do I say self-inflicted? Most of the people who are there now, right from independence to the present state, it's not as if that they don't know what should be done. They travel abroad and they see people in there. They see the kind of laws that are being made. They see the kind of infrastructure that are being from out there. But deliberately because of corruption, because of their attitude to better politics, and then because of most of the leaders issue, rather than approach problems from a very patriotic perspective, from a very people perspective, from what will benefit the character of the Nigerian people, they usually will go for complex solutions for problems. And that is why we are having this problem. I give you an example. The Lagos State government just tried to establish the blue and the red state line or whatever they call it. Will you believe it? That between 1979 and 1983, the Alhaji Dakande government had paid for the establishment of a monorail in Lagos State. As far back as 1983, and then the President Muhammadu Buhari, when he came in as President of this 1984, he just actually cancelled that contract without looking at the length of that process. Even though when Alhaji Dakande has paid upfront for the rail line, and the contractors have begun work, we lost that opportunity because of the impunity, because of the decision of one individual. And those people took us to court and won. We have to pay back. We also lost the money we have paid, the upfront money we have paid for the construction of that monorail. That is one decision. Also look at the rail line between Abuja and Kaduna. And now, if there is a first rail line to be done, it will be between Lagos, you need to if you have consulted that place now, it will be evacuating raw materials from people in Lagos and taking to those contact in Lewe and Napa, and then the finished product you can also evacuate and bring to the port in Lagos to be exported abroad. That train line has the potential to repay whatever money you have used to construct it. But because of political expediency, they went and consulted the one in Abuja and Kaduna to carry just human capital, which doesn't have the capacity to pay back the funds that were borrowed to consult that. That same woman. Furthermore, the people are consulting a rate to repay the public of what economic facilities before. So these are some of the things that we see. Also look at very different. People in the National Assembly said they wanted to arrange someone for the different political parties. Simply because of their own self-interest. They can't confront the godfather
Okay.
in the different political parties. And so they now want to use the electoral act to achieve whatever goals they want to achieve. So that they can always get elected to the National Assembly that they are beating for.
Okay.
So these are the needs.
Yes, Mr. Cole, let's move on to a headline coming from the Daily Independent. The big one there, upcoming mega party revs up process to square up to the PDP and the APC. We're told they've set up a transition committee and harmonization council as well. And the details of that, it says that a new party to square up to the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 general elections is already putting finishing touches to its registration in order to contest the next year's election. Names being mentioned in relation to this are the likes of Atairu Jega, professor, former INEC national chairman, and Patu Tomi, professor as well, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, Kingsley Mugalu, Obi Ezekwesili, and a host of others. We all know what happened the last time Patu Tomi and co., including a former Kwara State governor, had a sort of a symposium where they were talking about coming up with a third force. And the next, the EFCC picked up the file of that former, I think it was the EFCC went to seal his property. We've heard of this third force before. Do you think that this is something that we should, take notice of?
Well, honestly speaking, if we are taking the cognizance our history as a nation, especially our recent history, I don't see how the proposals that are being made with regard to this major political party will work. You and I will know the problems we have or the problems that the as a political party is presently having. They came from different parties. So to say, different colors came together, all themselves legacy parties, and formed the APC. And for that, after form, because always been one because or the other. Simply because the party just grow organically. If it has grown organically, if they have started from the scratch, from the foundation, and built to stop, gathered strength, contested and won it, and their principles and their ideology are concordant, are similar. In terms of members, the APC, for example, is about the we have also talked about the effort about to that in the past. It didn't work. When you also look at the those that are being mentioned now, people like Atairu Jega belong to the PRP, and the PRP ideology, in my humble opinion, is sociology. It's totality. You have people like a Pakistani who is a capitalist. You have people like Femi who is a who is a Marxist. And the labor is also that will be interested. Within the labor, there are both capitalists, there are Western, there are socialists, there are humanists, and all manner of people coming from different backgrounds. be able to bring all the people together in terms of ideology, in terms of vision, in terms of ability to work together. I don't see it coming. So the party is fighting to be a problem with the people to the Nigerian system and also itself, just as we have found that the APC has become an ambassador on the next of the Nigerian system. It's not likely to work.
Well, thank you so much, Tunde Kolawole, for being part of the conversation. We really appreciate your thoughts and your time on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Quite interesting with those stories. So many stories, so little time to analyze all of them. But the Breakfast and Plus TV Africa continues. We have a look at what happened today in history. And when we return, we dive straight into our first major conversation on the program this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Recording in progress.